think I am good. Let's see, got it. What's that look? There we go. Okay, Mr. Moody.
Okay. So, and I had watched the video from council yesterday. I've seen the exchange when Councilman Pertee told you to shut up. Give me a scene setter, though, from your perspective of what happened and what led up to that moment.
Hello, Mr. Moody. I am looking forward to the day when you all call me for follow-up interviews regarding items on the agenda. I would much rather be talking to you about the T-SPLOS that passed. I would much rather be talking about the International Plumbing Code that's going to call for the reconfiguration or the configuration of how developers outfit their properties. I would much rather be talking to you about the fact that we are increasing approvals that's contributing to forced displacement in our community. I would much rather be talking to you about the millage rate and how the account of what the media is spinning is simply not being fully transparent with the community, and that we can roll that millage rate back even further so that our citizens are enjoying a property tax reduction. I would much rather be talking to you, Mr. Moody, about the fact that there is great disparity in our provisions for permitting of license for liquor serving establishments, and that here in the city of Savannah, we have over 600 bar and liquor serving establishments, and fewer than 20 of them are owned by African Americans. And we had one petitioner, an African American couple, who was denied yesterday for a license where in the area it's actually permitted for their use. I would much rather be talking to you about the direction that this city needs to go in as we attempt to curb this increase in crime. What are we going to do to assure that we have a smooth transition with the departure of the chief, and how much confidence do we have in the interim chief, who I think will do a phenomenal job. And so we continue, Mr. Moody, to be plagued by occurrences on council where Mayor Van Johnson is the leader. He sets the tone. The leader sets the tone for whatever decorum we have or don't have on council. But because the media affiliates, again, insulate people like him, the city manager, the police chief, we continue to have occurrences that play out publicly because it's sensational, where you see examples of why crime is what it is. You see examples of why poverty is what it is. You see the housing crises and why we have one, because it is essentially endemic of the behaviors of our leader. And so what you saw, Mr. Moody, was a comment I made to the city manager. My engagement was with the city manager. And as I was talking to the city manager, Alderman Curtis Purdy said, "Shut up, Kesha." And so while that was very disturbing to me, it wasn't surprising to me. This is the normal behavior of the individuals on our council who are adamantly opposed to me just showing up. The fact that I walk into that chambers interrupts their entire continence. And I can't help but be who I am. I can't change my gender, I can't change my hue, and I can't change my voice. And I'm proud of my intellect and my education that calls for me to perform on council in a way that is representative of the people. And so I submit to you, if I said I supported oxygen, many of those individuals would simply stop breathing. The long and short of this, and I don't want to get bogged down into the minutia, but the long and short of this, Mr. Moody, is it is the responsibility of the leader, the mayor. The weight, the brevity of what happens in those chambers rests on his shoulders. You all have been witnesses. All three affiliates, including Savannah Morning News, you're in those chambers live in real time. There are many times where occurrences like this are captured, but you don't report on it. The only reason why it was reported on this time is because the public heard it. But I'm just curious to know, why is it that when something so blatantly obvious in terms of an egregious offense by a sitting elected official, why is it that when it happens with one of them, in them being in the majority, the mayor pro tem, Estella Shabazz, Purdy, Palumbo, Dietrich Leggett, and Linda Wild O'Brien, why is it that they are given a pass, or you kind of just gloss over it? Over the last couple of months, these individuals have been blowing into the microphone.
I'm going to step in now because
Okay.
I've let you talk.
Okay.
But I'm going to stop you there because I'm not giving him a pass. That's why I'm doing the story today.
Okay, but I'm saying that wasn't the first time.
I need to get in some questions.
Okay.
And so I can't let you just keep talking. So, my question is, did you feel disrespected in that moment when he told you to shut up? What was that like for you, sitting on council in a public meeting and a fellow council member tells you to shut up?
Well, Mr. Moody, I want to say this to you. I am confident in my person, and I am comfortable in my skin. So what Curtis Purdy said to me, I want you to consider the fact that what somebody thinks about me or what someone says about me is none of my business. I ascribe to the notion that the lioness does not consider the thoughts of the gazelle. Curtis Purdy is not a blip on my radar, but who was disrespected? The many women I have heard from, that's who feel slighted. That's who feel disrespected. Because if you have a sitting elected official who is also a law enforcement personnel at Georgia Southern University, who carries a badge and carries a gun, if you disrespect a person who is sitting in a position of authority, what more disrespect must you be communicating with individuals who you supervise who look like me? What more must you be doing to individuals who you make a traffic stop or you are amidst an investigation? And so that's my concern. Again, over the last couple of years, the issues related to what has happened with my career, the issues related to what has happened with regard to other areas involving the media and your reporting, it doesn't bother me. But what bothers me is, as I stated before, if these behaviors can exist where I am concerned, a law-abiding professional citizen who has never committed a crime, what more must be happening to our marginalized citizens? And what I'm saying to the public today, and what I'm saying to individuals, you cannot trust that the media is going to get it right every single time. You all become culpable in these actions when you are complicit in your reporting. And so when I wake up, when you're reporting on something on me, it goes across the Newsweek band. It's aired widely and broadly. I'm in the top 3 news story. You and Tina Shaw opened the top of your show with the Alderwoman's position being threatened on council.
So you're trying to make a point to your followers on Facebook.
Yes, which is my prerogative.
I am trying to do a story the way we have done stories about things that you have said. I am trying to do a story to outline what a city councilor said that at least is perceived inappropriate to you. So that's what I'm trying to do, regardless of your accusations about how we reported about you.
Mr. Curtis Purdy owes the public. Mr. Curtis Purdy owes the public an apology.
All right.
Mr. Curtis Purdy owes the public an apology.
My other question is, do you intend to, because people have filed complaints against you, do you intend to file any sort of complaint against Alderman Purdy?
I do not. You know why? Because it would be too entertaining, and it's a waste of public resources. It's a waste of staff time. And what you all don't understand is every time somebody does something like this, it calls for staff to do extra work that's oftentimes exceptional in addition to their regular duties. In addition, it costs our taxpayers money. So I would not dare put myself in position where I make a decision to expend precious staff time or taxpayer resources. In addition to that, Mr. Moody, what you should know is Curtis Purdy is a part of the voting majority. An ethics complaint is nothing more than the paper it's written on. It basically creates a sensational situation where people think that you're in trouble or you've behaved badly. There is no teeth to it. None at all. Just like with the removal of the council chair. That's a ceremonic position that means nothing. But when you put a spin to a story and put it into the airways, it creates this intrigue, this mystique, and it causes people to judge you unfairly, in my regard, and harshly. Where Curtis Purdy is concerned, I am not remotely interested in filing an ethics complaint against a person who knows that he has behaved unethically. The expectation is that Curtis Purdy will make this right by making an apology, and I'll give him a pass. You don't have to apologize to me, but you have to apologize to every woman who looks like me.
Okay, and so a couple of follow-up questions. At any point during that meeting, either before that exchange or after that exchange, were you referencing a pedophile or pedophiles and looking at Mr. Purdy, or did you call him a pedophile?
Mr. Moody?
And there's a second one, and I'm asking because I just want you to be able.
No, you're asking because that was his response to you. And if that was justification, if he told you that story and provided for that being justification for me telling him to shut up, you go back and look. You go back and look at the words that came out of my mouth and see when, where, and how, if you heard pedophile, how it was used, when it was used, and where it was used. And was it in conjunction to him telling me to shut up? Remember, you're the person who said we're here to talk about him telling me to shut up.
Did you at all say that to me?
Mr. Moody, the last time I spoke with you and you started with this line of questioning that really didn't have anything to do with the germane topic, you and Tina did a spin, and when it came out on the air, it was much different. So what I'm saying to you is, if you remember, you in that same tone, Mr. Moody, in your same tone, you asked me if I threatened for my husband to hurt Van Johnson when I showed him the phone. When it came on air, it appeared, because of the magic of the media and the messiness of television, your story and Tina Tius's Shaw's story ended up as if I threatened the mayor with my husband. So I'm not gonna get into your trickery. I really should have stopped the interview before now. I really should have. We'll just be curious. I want to have my viewers like and share, and we'll see how Mr. Moody, what he does with this story. I'm no longer going to play games with you all. I tried to call peace with you.
Councilwoman, have a
Recording stop.
That's how you handle that one. Listen, as I stated, there is far more going on in this city than Curtis Purdy telling me to shut up yesterday. As harsh as it sounds and as awful as it was, truly, you have to know that I am not remotely bothered by it in the least. When I signed up for this work, unbeknownst to me, I would be entering a stage where the stakes were high and that individuals would be willing to do any and everything to get what they wanted. But here I am, standing the test of time, believing and thinking that I can stand and fight for what you need and for what you want. And so with that said, please understand that the greatest enemy of direction is distraction. What we are fighting against at City Hall is to take this city back. And what does that mean, and what does that look like? That means that we are fighting against a set of evil that is so entrenched in this community. It's difficult to penetrate even the best of them, especially when you enter the arena from a place where you acknowledge that you're not a politician. I'm not interested in playing games. I'm not interested in trade-offs and collaboration and networking and meandering at pools of mediocrity when I know that networking, collaborating, and negotiating doesn't fit when it comes to services for our homeless. It doesn't fit when we're trying to prevent women and children from living in hotels. Negotiating, collaborating, and networking, there's no place for it when you're trying to reduce crime. You either want to do it or you don't. There's nothing to negotiate. There's nothing to network with. And that's where I come from. I'm here at the table solely for what's emerging situations that's occurring in our community. Now, am I capable of negotiating, networking, and collaborating? Yes. I'm happy to talk to SCAD about a pilot, a payment in lieu of taxes. Why? Because I want us to roll our millage rate back to the lowest percentage possible, and that is 11.399. The media and our administration, they are creating a false scenario. They're gaslighting the public and making you believe that we're rolling back the millage rate as far as it could go because it's the lowest that it's ever been since 1987. Well, they are remiss in telling you that as a result of them keeping the millage rate the same last year, your property taxes, if you received your tax bill, your property taxes increased. For some, tremendously. We did that barely coming out of a pandemic. And now we decide that we're going to give the citizens a treat. We're going to give you some sort of a tax holiday. It's just simply not true. Because if we were going to give us tax holiday or offer a reprieve, it would have happened last year. So again, citizens, I'm simply asking that you plug in, stay engaged. I know it's interesting. It looks intriguing when you see these headlines. And speaking of headlines, as I said to Mr. Moody, I have not committed even the infractions they have accused me of that I have never been found guilty of. Cursing in executive session, cursing a person in executive session, it never happened. Hitting somebody with a purse, it never happened. Calling Nick Palumbo a racist, it never happened. All of it's recorded. But here you have an individual who is caught live on audio from the chambers saying, "Shut up, Kesha." What part of the top 3 news cycles did that deserve? And so now you see the disparity. You see the disparity in how I'm treated versus how Mr. Curtis Purdy is being treated. And so yes, this is an indictment on our media affiliates, because unless and until you all get it right, we are going to continue to be plagued by situations where our crime is increasing. We're having more forced displacement. We're having more neighborhoods encroached upon by big business and development. All because it's the motivation of the media, who is owned by the establishment, to keep those who carry their water insulated. So no, the media is not motivated to report transparently on the voting majority on council. Their goal is to sully the voice of those who are actually advocating for what our citizens need so that they are enjoying some semblance of harmony in community. And so again, I never get a call. I never get a call on all of my advocacy on council. I never get calls related to anything related to what was on the agenda. At the last meeting, we had over 50 items. And the one thing that this reporter, this seasoned reporter, Edward Moody, the one thing he was interested in is Curtis Purdy telling me to shut up. He didn't call me about T-Sploss and ask me about our opposing decision, despite the fact that the media reports that, oh, the city council voted to create an opportunity where there would be a vote of taxpayers to vote on a T-Sploss, a tax increase for traffic, which essentially would encompass us being able to have new sidewalks, roads, drainage, all of the things that we really, really need. But because the list was not prioritized, where it was representative of all districts and all people, the highlights on that T-Sploss list was tied to town and the Duran Avenue project and Benton Boulevard. Yes, it's all needed, but you're leaving out over half the city. And so I couldn't in good conscience vote for that. But if you look at it, you go to every single media outlet. And always remember what I said to you all earlier. Ask the question, why is every media outlet always on message? They are always on the same message, despite the fact that they're competitors. TLC, SAV, JCL, and Savannah Morning News are all competitors. They compete for our time. But they are all telling us the same story. What kind of competition is that? The Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco, they don't have the same plays. They don't have the same plays. LA Lakers and Golden State? What's the little short, light-skinned guy? He's Alicia's favorite. Stephen Curry. They don't have the same plays. They don't have the same plays. So why is it that all of the media outlets have the same play? Because the goal is television. Tell them a vision. And so all I'm asking you all who are watching now is to share this message. And I need you all to break out of the trends. I need you all to break out of the trends and help me take our city back. There is nothing that any of those individuals can do to me that will keep me from showing up every time for the people of Savannah. I have no business running for mayor if I'm going to be upset that an insignificant individual told me to shut up. I should just stay home. I appreciate all of the sentiments of support. I appreciate those of you who have reached out to see if I'm okay. I promise you with everything I know and God loves, I am just fine. And I will continue to be just fine. But you know why I'm so encouraged and what keeps me going? It's because there's so much need in this city that's far greater than me getting my feelings hurt for somebody telling me to shut up. And so that's why I will do the next thing that I'm supposed to do where this role as Alderwoman at Large is concerned. But what I want you all to do in your role as citizens, I want you to find the neighborhood association in your community. Join it. Go to the meetings. I need you to pull up your city council meetings. I need you to pull up your Chatham County Commission meetings. Even if you just do it once a month, give it 30 minutes at a time. I need you all to engage, plug in, and pay attention to what's going on in the city. In 2 to 4 short years, I'm telling you, from where I'm sitting and for what I see, if something does not change, Savannah as we know her will not be the blended cultural community that we love. We want to create a Savannah where people who live here and pay taxes here are treated just as well as those who tour here and visit here. We want a Savannah where all of our residents, all of them, can live in complete harmony. We want to engage in relationships with the giants in this community and foster a way whereby they help us solve the most pressing issues against this community. We want to have those sincere conversations. We do not desire to be punitive. We do not desire to engage in mandates that may make them uncomfortable. But what we do desire a community where the winners are no longer taken all. And so again, yesterday, the majority on council, the mayor, Dietrich Leggett, Linda Wilder Bryan, Curtis Purdy, and Nick Palumbo all voted to approve an amendment to the International Plumbing Code. Now, for some, those words may be confusing, and rightfully so, because it was confusing to me when I first heard it, which was why there was some confusion in our vote, because the initial presentation was very ambiguous. But what this International Plumbing Code provides for is the configuration of restroom space where a developer could essentially outfit an establishment where men, women, girls, and boys could essentially use the same corridor for bathroom space. Now, for some, that may be okay. But for me, not only as an advocate for sexual assault prevention, but as a woman, as a mother, I recognize that putting individuals in space where they are in close proximity, mixing those elements with overconsumption in alcohol could provide adverse implications both for a victim and for a person who is mistaken as being a perpetrator, if you will. And so you'll see some lively debate if you pull up the meeting as we engage in those discussions. But most of all, what we want to recognize is when we make these decisions, we want to make the decisions based on our bearing capacity. We want to make the decisions based on the resources that we currently have. And so if we are creating these kind of opportunities in our community, how are we expecting that our police department will respond if issues do arise? Can you foresee increased issues or no? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know what that answer will be. And so if we're already down over 100 police officers, how will that play out? We are a city that's very liberal in our provision for alcohol. Again, if individuals are having fun with libations and maybe a little bit too much, and you may stumble into the wrong bathroom because of the confusion and that they're close together, who's to say what won't or will happen? And so we moved to our liquor license, and that was another area of contention, because we had probably about a total of 6 or 7 petitioners on the agenda. And of them, there was one African-American couple who was seeking to establish a lounge on Victory Drive where the area is zoned. There's no zoning issues at all. There's no special use permit needed at all. And so we, being advocates and proponents of supporting African-American business, small business that is, we're excited to be a part of helping to establish this chain lounge in Savannah called CRU, C-R-U. And unfortunately, this couple was held to a far higher standard than I've ever seen with any petitioner since I've been a sitting person on council. And I saw the biasness, I saw the unfairness, and it was very disturbing. Very, very disturbing. And so you'll see that that's essentially where the debate kind of ended, with Curtis Purdy telling me to shut up. But the interesting part was I wasn't talking to him. I was engaging with the city manager, not Curtis Purdy. But again, just because I'm there and I open my mouth and I show up, that's the reaction that I get from them. But those are the kind of things that we need to be interested in. What's going on with our taxes? Where is equity in our local government? And how much are we concerned about this millage rate and the property taxes? And how are we going to continue to work at reducing crime? Another big item was the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we've allocated over the last 2 months for our medians to be clear and cleaned. And if any of you drive anywhere in the city, you know that that's not really happening very well. And so I raised the issue and asked the question, because we are passing and approving hundreds of thousands of dollars for over 200 miles in the city that are supposed to be maintained and cleaned by these vendors. And so if it's not done, my job is to hold us accountable as a government. We are keepers of the watch. I make no apologies for that. Listen, it's Friday, y'all. I might come back and spend some time with you later, but I wanted to entertain Mr. Moody, and I've stated to these individuals before that I do not seek to have an antagonistic relationship with the media. I do not seek to have an antagonistic relationship with the media, but I am inclined when they fall short to call them out on it. And so you won't see on any of their Facebook pages the fact that Curtis Purdy told me to shut up. You didn't see it being a part of the top 3 stories. You didn't get it on the Newsweek band that went across your phone screen this morning, I'm sure. To find this story, you have to kind of search for it. But if it were Keisha Gibson Carter, my face and my name would be reported on and spread broad and wide. And so I can take it, y'all. They say to whom much is given, much is required. And I thank God for giving me Savannah. Listen, God bless you all. And we all are going to be okay. In due season, if we don't give up, we will all be okay. Y'all have a good Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Spend some time with your family and pray. Jesus, pray, love Jesus.